All right, so good afternoon, good morning, good evening. This is, I'll name this segment later, GTG spits that grease, etc., etc., etc. Work in progress. The title hasn't already given me away yet. We're going to speak on ReviewTechUSA. I know. And though most of you probably have been asking, actually I know some of you have, on why haven't I spoken about his beef with another detractor? Because there's still so much to be harvested over there. So, you know what I'm saying? Let's let that saga continue. Just in case you guys don't know, ReviewTechUSA has gotten into a beef with Sly T for no reason, to be honest with you. And he's losing, as ReviewTech would be expected to lose. And it's getting drawn out and it's getting ugly, so to speak. And ReviewTech is going to walk in, or he's going to walk out, or be carried out, whichever happens first, with far less than what he had going in, for no goddamn reason. But we'll save that for another time, because that's a long one. So if you guys really want to catch a recap, there's actually a few different channels that are doing it, but if you want to keep it in-house, if you will, check out Snort Hogan. He's been basically following it from the beginning. And then there's a couple other smaller channels that you can also find who also have some extra nuance if you guys want to dip into it. How the turnout of that, or how that will eventually, the eventual outcome of it will be interesting, which I think I already know, but I'm going to save that for now. Because truth be told, there is a payoff on both fronts, depending on how this continues to go. But we'll keep that. What the real reason why we're here, though, is because fucking ReviewTechUSA is going to get a tattoo of DARKSYDEPHIL's face on, I want to tell you, it's the box art for Castlevania or Castlevania 2. And instead of Dracula, it's the entire cover art for the game, right? But instead of Dracula's face, it'll be DSP doing his masturbation face. That's fucking insane. that's fucking insane. I've never heard of another detractor, troll, hater, critic. Not to say Rich is any of those things. He's not. He's a fucking poser. He's a grifter. He still is. But I've never heard of anybody ever wanting to get getting a fucking lol cow's face tattooed on them and consider that as an own. Now, because ReviewTechUSA is a fucking lol cow himself, let's talk about how he has sold himself cheap, right? Let's go and see how much it's going to cost to have his ass branded.
Hello, Philip Paul Burnell. I'm a man. And in case you haven't known, I think your audience has let you know, I actually had a goal of hitting, if I hit 1,500 subs by the end of March, I would get a picture of you being Dracula from the Castlevania NES box art of you being your fat face being Dracula. There it is. See that? We hit the goal, Phil. I'm getting that box art, except you're going to be Dracula with your May 1st fat face on the side of my left ass cheek. I'm going to inquire about it this upcoming week. Phil, your face is literally going to be in my ass. I just want that to sink in for you.
He had a sub goal, or a membership goal, whatever, of 1,500 subs to get this tattoo done. Are you fucking insane? You're gonna get another man's face tattooed on your body for the value of 1,500 subs? Let's say at a minimum they're $5 a sub. That's all? That's all it's gonna cost. That's all it was worth. Now, it'd been different if he said, you know, if we got 5,000 gifted subs or memberships, or 10,000 to get another person's face tattooed on him. I could see that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't do it. But I could see that. But you would do it for such a small cost. And then here's what's crazy. For most men and women out there who are fathers, right, or mothers or parents, let's say that, usually when you get a tattoo, you get a tattoo that means something to you. You know, like your kids' names. You know what I'm saying? Maybe even your kids' faces. Stuff like that. It's not like Phil is an idiot too, but it's not like Rich isn't rotund. It's not like he doesn't have the space. You know what I'm saying? There's plenty of places to have a tattoo of his kids and whatever. But you would rather put another man's face, another man that you've been chasing for damn near a decade, by the way. You want to have a decade plus, actually. You want to have another man's face tattooed on you? And then try to cover it, up and say, oh, well, I care so much about Castlevania, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put him on there too as a gag. Now, as ridiculous as that is and shit, and the fact that the people around him are cool with that, that tells you about what their mindsets are at. My real question is, beyond the ignorance of why he would do it, is what's the real motive behind it? Because that sounds like some lol-cow live bullshit. And if it is some lol-cow live bullshit, that makes me think that that tattoo might actually be temporary. Maybe you guys don't know, so let me give you guys some details as it pertains to particulars. When Boogie finally kind of came clean, kind of sorta, about faking cancer on lol-cow live, he had to get that tattoo on his face, on his cheek. Remember that, right? It says liar. Black letters. Well, you go over there now, you don't see that tattoo no more. It ain't really there no more. But it was a nice little humiliation or whatnot, brought in a lot of money, brought in a lot of views. So Rich, who's no longer part of the lol-cow universe, allegedly, has sat there and rebrand the RTU streaming channel, the only channel that he actually has, but well, that's not true. He has a couple of channels actually, he has a few channels I should say. One channel actually just got ousted recently that he was actually giving DSP money on. Because he used to give money on his just his ReviewTechUSA channel. Not just on YouTube, but also on Twitch. Well, he has another YouTube channel that he likes to go ahead and send DSP money on, and it got outed. So, but that's another story for another day. We'll save that. We'll save that. But it makes me think. Oh, so anyway, ReviewTechUSA went ahead and rebranded the RTU streaming channel to now, what is it, lol-cow basement? So he can go ahead and still feed off of the algorithm. He also is still trying to actively continue to participate participate in content or with content with those people over there, even though allegedly he's not in any other servers anymore. When the day he got fired, he allegedly went ahead and purged himself off of all those servers. Well, allegedly he's actually making his way back on. He's certainly talking to people who are still associated with lol-cow live and whatnot. So there's really not as much separation as he'd want to make you believe. There's still he's still pretty much in the fray. On top of the fact that the situation with Fat Camp, I don't think that right there has been, resolved yet. And he's already paid on it anyway, so he might as well go. So that leads me to, is this actually just a humiliation ritual? Is this just another one of those things where, Keem is like, hey, let's go ahead and beef it out and everything. I'm gonna fire you off of lol-cow tech. And then if you go ahead and get something zany or something if you can do something zany, something crazy, I'll bring you back on. And maybe I'll bring you back on, and maybe I'll bring you on to the actual main show. Let's be honest. Rich doesn't give a fuck about lol-cow tech. He was running that shit like he was running his own dead-ass streams. What Rich always wanted was to be on the main panel. He wanted to be on DSP spot. He wanted the money that produces. That's what he was always shooting for. That's what he thought he was going to get. So now, get DSP tattooed on you. Maybe you get a second chance back in the lol-cow universe. Jay and Jaffe seem to be having a good time over there with lol-cow tech doing that stuff. Maybe you can guest appearance over there every once in a while, but maybe we could put you on the main show a couple times and we'll see what works. Maybe not. I'm just speculating. Here's the next thing. This is the important thing. However this is me as Keem talking here. Make yourself some money. Convince other people that you're going to do this and raise up the funds for it. If you can do that and you make a little bit of money for yourself, hell, who's to say that Keem doesn't actually help him find a tattoo artist and even pay for the tattoo? Now, this is where things start to get iffy, because you can't trust any of these liars because they're all fucking liars. How do we know that tattoo is not going to be temporary? As I said earlier on, we haven't seen that liar tattoo on Boogie in quite a while. Kind of fades out over time. It is a thing. So to have this extensive tattoo that, according to Rich, not only is he going to get it, but he's also going to have it filmed, so they're going to make content out of this. There's going to be multiple pictures of it. It's going to be spread everywhere. Who's to say in 3, 4, 6 months it doesn't fade off? But it doesn't matter because he'll have the picture of it. He'll say that he did it if he chooses not to show it, because I think it's going to be on the underside of his ass. There's no point in him doing so. You got the pictures of it. Would you put that past ReviewTechUSA of getting a fake tattoo of DARKSYDEPHIL to get himself back in graces with Keem, make himself a bit of money off of his own audience, kind of try to get himself back in the right direction, so to speak? And I'd like to say, going back to the Sly versus Rich situation, maybe that's tied into it too, in the fact that Rich is trying to keep his name out there by beefing with a detractor leading up to him getting that tattoo. And then it's yet again, it's all about content farming. He's theoretically, well, he could, if he's smart enough, he could theoretically use Sly for that too. Because Sly is certainly gonna mock the fuck out of that shit, which is only gonna get it out there further. You know what I'm saying? It's all a thing. The point, ladies and gentlemen, is I'm thinking this is a work. I'm thinking Rich's audience probably got fucked over. You know what I'm saying? This is more than likely just a temporary tattoo and whatnot. But there'll be enough images out there after it's done that it won't matter, you know, if he never shows it again, because we'll all know that he branded himself with it. Even if it's a fake tattoo or a temporary tattoo, whatever, we're still going to be able to mock him from hell and back with it, so it won't matter, because Rich don't like to think in the long term. But if this is what it costs to go ahead and get things squared up with Keem, then why not? And let me backtrack a little bit. Even though I said Rich is trying to get Rich's end goal is to get back onto the main panel on LolCal Live, he's already rebranded his channel to LolCal Basement. So now that right there may be part of the deal for Keem to bring his channel under the umbrella. So Rich now has some actual protection, because he has a channel that's under 100,000 subs. He's vulnerable, just as vulnerable as I am, truth be told, more or less. So having his main channel under the LolCal umbrella works out. He can still make content. He can still make the content that he wants, slop as it is. I can say that because my content's slop. And you know, he's under the umbrella. And then if he can prove himself, maybe he makes it onto the main panel, or maybe he makes it on the main panel every once in a while. So it gives ReviewTechUSA, it gives Rich. Calling him ReviewTechUSA is disingenuous on multiple fronts. What this does though is it gives the RTU channel, now LolCal Basement, the protection and the notoriety of being under the LolCal network, which allows him to kind of move the way he moves, doing whatever he wants. It allows him to mingle with the other channels, which is what he always wanted, right? He gets the notoriety of having DARKSYDEPHIL tattooed on his fucking ass, which is just weird stalkerish type behavior, to be honest with you. It's not even zany nor zesty. It's damn sure zesty, putting another man that you don't know, who don't like you, on tattooed on you. That just sounds zesty as shit. But he gets the notoriety of that nonsense, and he gets extra perks if he can get on to the LolCal Live panel. That's my thoughts. Because truth be told, I can't think of another reason why. And to do it for such a small amount of money, it seems odd. So let's say, hypothetically, that now obviously I think he has multiple tier goals over there on his YouTube channel, as it pertains to memberships or different levels of gifted memberships. I have no clue. I'm not really sure on that part, but let's say that he does. So let's say at $5 a piece, let's say on the low end, that $5 per gifted sub or membership or whatever, for 1,500, I think I said the goal was? Yeah, 1,500. I'm gonna try to do some quick math. I'm not great at that. What is that? $7,000, $7,200, $7,500 maybe, give or take. I could be a little more or less, a little less. You know what I'm saying? Something along those lines. I want to say it's like between $7,200 and $7,500. That's how much money he made to get a tattoo of DSP allegedly permanently put on him, under the basis of it's funny and this, that, and the third, and the CASTLEVANIA thing and yada yada yada. That's it. Less than 10 grand. That's all it was worth. You didn't think about having maybe 5,000 gifted subs to actually do that? Hell, even 10,000 for something that's allegedly permanent. So if he went with 10K, what is that? 50 grand? 48,000, I think. I think it may be closer to 50. Maybe. Something like that. So let's say if it was 10,000 gifted memberships, you know what I'm saying? What's 50 grand? It's good money. It's 50 fucking grand. If it was 5,000 subs, you know what I'm saying? If it was 5,000 subs instead, or sorry, if it was 5,000 subs instead of 10,000, well, you know what I'm saying? Like I said, if it's 50, that drops it down to 25,000. That's still better than 7,500. You know what I'm saying? That's just me though. That's just me. Maybe I'm delusional. Maybe I'm greedy. I don't know. But it, for such a small amount of money, I don't see the big payoff. I don't see $7,500, if that's what the total is, being worth having DARKSYDEPHIL or any lolcow or any man that you don't know that ain't your family. To be honest with you, ain't someone who came out the slums with you and shit and passed away or something. Having them tattooed on you. And the fact that you would have another man be tattooed on you before your own children, whether their names, whether their faces, whether their birthdays, that speaks a lot. So you want to run around here talking, I mean, Rich, you want to run around here calling all these detractors who don't like you mentally ill, they're fucking losers or stalkers, this, that, and the third. None of them talking about getting tattoos, bruh, of another man. Damn sure not before their own children. But then again, your children are just props anyway. You know, they're just something that you use to try to defend yourself from criticism. Straight cuck shit. So I guess that wouldn't mean much to you anyway. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think. How you feel about it? Because, you know what I'm saying? As a detractor, troll, hater, or critic, I've been called quite a few things. I've never been called some of the shit that people are saying as it pertains to this. This is beyond weird. You know what I'm saying? Like, is this like the early stages of some Buffalo Bill type shit where you want to wear his skin? It rubs the grease on the skin. It does it whenever it's told, or it rubs the Crisco oil on the skin whenever it's told. Oh, that's right. You're supposed to be Italian. It rubs the fucking olive oil on the skin and it does it whenever it's told and shit. And Jasper's down there and you know, eventually Jasper falls down in the hole too. Then what? Put the cat back in the bucket. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Like, what is this shit? That shit sounds crazy. Now, keep in mind, I'm just some brain dead idiot on the internet that fucking talks about other brain dead idiots on the internet. But that's kind of wild. That's silly as shit. You know what I mean? That's silly as hell. Now, if I can, or if not, I'll ask somebody else. I'll see if I can actually find the Twitter video where Rich announces that they finally hit the goal in the stat and 30. You guys can see it for yourself. So if it's not at the beginning of this, it'll be in the middle of this somewhere, maybe towards the end, whatever. You'll see it. You know what I'm saying? It's about 45 seconds, give or take, maybe a minute. And you can see it for yourself. But, yeah, if this guy right here is Rich, is being associated with detractors and this, that, and the third, then that right there in itself gives a lot of credence to DSP being crazy and shit. Now, as most of you know, Rich had a fallout with Duty. Allegedly, they ain't sat there and you know, fix shit, whether they're cool or not the way they were, whatever, but allegedly they fixed that shit, this, that, and the third. But whether Duty and Rich are still cool or not, this falls on Duty. This is that people are gonna see this silly shit and they're gonna look right at Duty and be like, yo, that's your man's, that's your in-house lolcow. What the fuck's up with that shit? You know what I'm saying? Whose idea was it? What thought went behind that? Unless there is some type of long-term or there's some other payoff further down the line that Rich hasn't disclosed. Now, Rich is a liar, so you can't trust anything that guy says. And that's why I'm starting to think that maybe this shit's a fake tattoo, or it's just a temporary one, just for the shits and giggles of it. It's gonna gain a lot of attention. And Rich is a fucking mockery anyway. You know, he always was, to be honest with you. So him doing some zany shit like this is it's gonna make its rounds for a while. It'll bring him some attention. Definitely people to laugh at his ass. But what's the long-term goal behind it? And yet again, I'd like for some of you to at least keep in mind, you don't have to do any of the questioning. I'll do all that for you. But how are you gonna put another man's image on your body before that of your own children? How is that a thing? Tell me, fuck it. So for some of you out there who like to defend Rich, and I've spoken to a few of you, tell me how that makes sense. Defend that. You're willing to put DARKSYDEPHIL, Phil Burnell, DSP, Dark Geppetto. You're willing to put a literal pedophile defender on his body. Explain to me or try to defend the idea that he's willing to put an actual pedophile defender on his body for his own children. Make that make sense to me. Don't worry, I'll wait. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it. And I will catch you guys for the next one of these, whenever that may be, certainly sooner than later. I will see if I can try to speak to some people, or I'll try to compile. I know there's a lot of guys on Twitter who are on Rich's ass and whatnot on a constant basis. And I'll see if I can maybe do a video where I can give you when he started it all the way up until when the final product happens, whenever that happens. Supposedly he's out doing consultations now to find an artist and get this all done, and I'll just put it all into one thing, more than likely, and we'll just get it done that way. I don't think any of Rich's streams where he initially announced this has been deleted yet, so, you know, there may be still hope. But if not, there's John Riley, there's Renton Liar, there's a couple of guys on Twitter that I can try to reach out to and see if they have any of it clipped, or I can just check their Twitters, and I'm sure I can get it all together. In any case, yet again, thank you guys very much for listening in. I very much appreciate it, and I'll catch you guys for the next one. And yet again, I want you to take away from this: you're willing to put another man on your body before your own kids. Make it make sense. All right, people. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Later, people.